Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, January 8th, 2023, after 3 p.m. Eastern. And still, after all this time, the sun has never said to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with love like that. It lights up the sky. Happens. There are two types of giving in this world. Giving to get something in return, and giving for the pure joy and freedom of it. The first type of giving is our ego, being attached to all sorts of hidden agendas and unconscious expectations. The second type simply gives because it feels good and we are coming from a state of abundance. We are sharing that overflow with others because we can't keep it all to ourselves inside. Perhaps the easiest way to tap into our unlimited, created, enlightened nature is the practice of giving it away. Now you may ask, how can something as simple as giving lead one into such a high transcended experience such as enlightenment? When we practice constantly giving anything to people freely, without expectations of any kind of reward in return, we liberate ourselves from the confines of our egos. It all comes down to practicing random acts of kindness, being considerate of others' needs, while also being considerate for your own. And a lot of people misinterpret. It's you first. It always has to be you first. Taking care of yourself, loving yourself, surrendering, being generous, kind, humble with yourself. See, so all of those things, first you, then them. Now, a lot of people will go first them and never end up doing anything for themselves. Ask yourselves, if this act of giving provides us with a deeper sense of inner peace, so giving is not about trying to meet others' needs or doing whatever you can to try to make them happy. Often we really don't know what others' needs truly are. And usually they don't either. So it really isn't our job to try to fulfill their egoic needs. What's more important is the freeing feeling of letting go of the ego. The ego is always out to get something because it doesn't see, feel, or believe that it is connected to the infinitely abundant, deeply eternal, loving God source. It doesn't know that at all. If you're always on the prowl, looking to get something from the outer world, then you're living as an ego trip and not knowing yourself as this divinity inside. The ego reaches out to others for connection, a sense of worthiness, validation, for feelings of closeness, togetherness. And the list goes on when it comes to relationships. The ego has forgotten, or maybe it never knew, that the real connection it's seeking is inside. Giving without ego involvement will liberate us from all suffering in our lives. Giving without ego involvement will liberate us from all suffering in our lives. We will become free from our past and future, which eventually will lead us to the enlightened state. Because remember, the ego mind exists as an illusion in the yesterday and tomorrow, the past and the future. Okay, that's where our suffering is. So giving without ego involvement will liberate us from all suffering in our lives. We will become free from our past and future, which eventually will lead us to the enlightened state. Each moment, we have the opportunity to give from our divine source or from the ego. Every day, there are thousands of opportunities to give. We could randomly give gifts that are physical or non-physical. It really doesn't matter as long as we are giving from a place of letting go and a place of deep eternal love. We can offer someone a positive thought, a smile, kind gesture, a look of acceptance, gentle eyes that say everything is okay, and even a warm, healing hug. Imagine that this was our life's mission. How would we feel at the end of 24 hours? Imagine you'd either be floating on a cloud nine or simply bubbling with a tremendous giddiness inside. You have absolutely nothing to give up. You never had anything to begin with. It's actually egotistical to believe you have something to give up. There's nothing you have to surrender. It's only the ego that believes that something has to be surrendered, that there's work to do. The only work is to just drop into what is, Robert Adams. As long as we are alive, these bodies, we have the power to give from an infinite supply of love. Feel how amazing it feels to practice conscious acts of kindness. Just like anything in this life, the more we practice it, the better we get at it. So patience is the golden rule. We will gain courage the more ego lets love take control. It's good to know that every human being receives the gift of love in these 5 special, unique ways. There's 5. You might be able to think of more. Physical touch, right? But see what's happened in this hodgepodge of social structure. You got to be worried if you touch somebody, right? You got to be worried. That's the ego mind, fully at work. Time spent together. Time spent together, right? Excuse me. And then they came in with the social distancing. Ego mind. So time spent, physical touch, and time spent together. These are things you can ask yourself. How much attention do you focus on these 5 special, unique ways? Physical touch, time spent together, actions from the heart. How often during the course of your days do you focus on actions coming from your heart to others, to yourself? Loving words. How many times a day in the course of your day, hours, weeks, minutes, do you use loving words? And 5, physical gifts. Someone can make you a pot holder, right, by hand. And you ever notice that for some people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, the appreciation is very great because it was made from that other's hands, which is a true appreciation of love towards others. Now notice which of these 5, physical touch, time spent together, actions from the heart, loving words, physical gifts. Notice which of these do you enjoy giving and receiving the most. Take a poll as to which of your friends, family members, and your intimate loved ones enjoy receiving the most. This knowledge is worth more than gold and will make our lives truly abundant on all levels. It's good to know that this is not an exercise in being a professional people pleaser. It's more about being sensitive to how unique everyone is and how you can truly touch someone's soul if you honestly wish to. Implementing this wisdom on a daily basis will lead us to the enlightened state and is by far the best gift we could ever give ourselves. So this coming week, right, is to find out which of these 5 gifts that your loved ones most enjoy receiving. Then practice giving to them in that specific way as often as you can. Notice what happens in your relationship over the course of the next week. Make selfless giving a priority in your life. Selfless giving a priority in your life. And you'll receive the true enlightened gift in return. It will transform how you feel about yourself, this world, and everyone in it. This is all about us discovering, or rediscovering in some ways, how to transcend lower vibrational frequency. Knowing that, becoming consciously aware, that you can say to yourself, I'm starting to send out, I'm moving into a lower frequency, and that you're consciously aware of that. Most aren't. And then when you actually literally catch yourself, and you say, I don't care to go into that frequency. There's no reason for me to go in that frequency. As a matter of fact, I will spend and focus my energies on the opposite direction of that low frequency. When you hate, it drains you. When you love, it fills you. When you hate, it drains you. When you love, it fills you. Now, is that a tough choice for us? To feel empty and miserable or full of love? To me, it's a no-brainer. And it's just each of us determining to not, it's like, what benefit or what does it do for us to be miserable, angry, upset, stressed, filled with tension, all of it? Why? Does it do any good for us? No. It depletes us. It brings us down. And sometimes, maybe you know someone, maybe you've been there. You never seem to get out of it. You ever been in that situation? Not knowing what you know now. And it really is a simple choice. See, we intend things all the time. We all intend things, and we all desire things in this physical material world. But you intend it, and then you just leave it alone and you keep moving forward. And you know that there will come a time when it is manifested right before your eyes. And that's great. You're not out to please people, right? You're not out to bend over backwards pleasing people. That's not what this is about. It's very much more about being sensitive to how unique everyone is. See, everybody's different, right? We're all different, like snowflakes. Not one is exactly the same. We have such a rich diversity on this planet, it's mind-boggling. And when we understand being sensitive to how unique everyone is and how we can truly touch someone's soul if we honestly wish to, and implementing this wisdom on a daily basis will lead us to the enlightened state that is by far the best gift we could ever give ourselves. Rather than hating and taking, we begin to learn loving and giving. And you can even tell by the words, hating and taking, loving and giving. You can tell the vibrational frequency right in the heart mind. Immediately. Of the frequency that comes out those words. But we all know there's habits that we all get into, right? And a lot of the times, the habits, it's not like we're doing it on purpose, okay? We just kind of fall into the certain habits. And we really don't look at it, and we just kind of go along in life with these habits. We create habits. They become little comfort circles, and we stay in them. And as time goes by, for most of us, we become more reserved, more frightened, more fearful, instead of more outgoing, more risk-taking. And then you have many of us that will say to ourselves that you wish you would have done this, or you wish you would have done that. You waited too long. The body doesn't respond like it. You've heard people say this, right? That they can't do what they used to do. Those are old negative affirmations, say, and they don't realize it. They're confirming the aging of their bodies. They're confirming it and reaffirming it. But it's the social structure. It's how we have been trained. Now, when you understand for yourself, because it always starts with you, that you're strong and vibrant, and you believe it and mean it through the heart mind, that you're flexible and limber. I mean, I've seen people in their 90s outdo people in their 20s. It's a mind script, right? It's a mind script. There's just someone who comes up to someone and says, well, you're too old to do that. Who told you that? Well, it's just the way life is. You ever seen those people? They defy all that gobbledygook. They live their lives to the fullest. They're not concerned about what other people think of them or believe them about them. They just enjoy their lives. Have you ever met anybody like that? Where you say, you don't seem to be like everyone else. You just seem to you just kind of float along and you seem happy, and we pick up on that with other people. We pick it up. No? You ever find yourself wanting to be around somebody, and you may not even know them, but just your conversation, you can sit there and talk with them for hours because you feel at ease. You don't feel threatened. You don't feel like you have to protect yourself and guard yourself. You actually find yourself opening up and having a great time. You know why that is? Because this is what's really interesting. We fear those we know that we've known a long time, and the strangers we don't fear. We're willing to open up and share things with a stranger that we would have never done with our loved ones. Isn't that amazing? You could be with someone for 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years, and then meet a stranger and just pour it out. I've had this happen to me many, many, many times. I mean, it followed me from in single digits age all the way through life. People look for advice, right? Every one of us have looked for advice through this life. I really don't believe that any of us have not. And more than once, many times. Looking for approval, right? You're talking with someone, maybe you know them, they're a friend, and you say, what do you think I should do in this situation? You see, we're always, and instead of saying to ourselves, through the heart mind, and ask the God within, what should we do here? What is the best path for us? And you make the decision. You feel very confident and trust and faithful in yourself and the universe. And you make the decision and you carry it through. Doesn't mean it's always going to be perfectly exact and right. Or you might say to yourself, I've got this, right? You ever said that to yourself? Maybe not in those particular words, but you say, I've got this. I can do this. Have you ever been in a situation where you're looking at something and you don't have a clue how you're going to do anything with it, right? You don't have really the experience with it. But you say to yourself, through the heart mind, I'll figure it out. And you know what? You usually do. And it comes out phenomenal. This is trust in ourselves. Okay? Someone comes to you and you say to them, I'm going to do this. And they look at what you're going to do. And they look at you and they go, that's not possible. And you look at them and you say, why isn't it possible? Just can't be done. You can't do that. Oh, okay. So in a way, it motivates that person. And then the next thing you know, that same person said, that's not possible. I'd like to show you something. Oh, okay. Remember when you said that what I was doing was impossible? Yeah. Well, I want to show you that the impossible is now a reality. And they just, their jaw drops in their lap. And then their ego mind constantly wants to make sure that no way, shape, or form is that real. And the mind and the ego plays that out, that it's not real. It's fake. It won't work. whatever it may be. You could have, built a new seat to sit on, or a bench or something, or an idea. It's an endless array. And so when we say to ourselves, that's impossible, that's the ego mind. Anything's possible and there are no limitations, that's the heart mind. So you can begin to differentiate between the two. It's really important that we learn to do this, because it will literally eliminate so much pain and suffering that we never need to go through. It's being able to identify. Now, you're not judging yourself. You're identifying things. From your heart mind, that's an ego mind thought, or this is an ego mind response. You'll know that you're in the ego mind, and you say, well, I don't care to go down that road. I'm not interested in engaging in it. I'm not interested in putting any of my energies into it. I'm putting my energies into the love that I am, the happiness that I am. Now, a lot of people would believe that that's weak, that it's not strong, it's weak. And it's actually the opposite. Tremendously powerful. Way off the charts. Because what happens is that we begin to progress, maybe little teeny inch steps, but we begin to move forward, we begin to progress, and we begin to know who and what we are. That's the whole reason we're in these bodies. Learn it in the body. Before you leave the body, learn it in the body. For instance, on this planet, the way the social structure is dictated to us generation after generation, when someone passes or leaves the body, the body's put into the ground, right? And then people visit those resting places, right? And because of that, we have a lot of souls that are stuck here on the planet. And it's because we attach ourselves to an empty vessel in the ground, because you're very powerful. And so you bind those souls on this planet. You bind them because you have not surrendered or let go of them. You have bound them. And that's not a guilt trip or anything. It is a knowing, okay? And you go into your heart mind, you will know that to be true. It's not something that the beings on this planet do on purpose. It's how they've been taught. That's what you do. When you've seen different depictions, right? Where you're releasing the soul by burning the vessel that is no longer inhabited by the soul. Okay. These are all things that we are unweaving, undoing. This civilization is about undoing the societal structure that is currently in place. It's undoing it. It is flawed, tremendously so. And it no longer, I don't believe it ever has, served us for the greater good. And that's what we're all aspiring in these bodies to do. The physical touch, the time spent together, actions from the heart, loving words, physical gifts. It's interesting that when people finally discover, the ones that do, in this lifetime, that they truly deeply love themselves and the gods that they are in the body and the body, they want for nothing. And they want for nothing because everything comes to them. And it comes in different ways, shapes, and forms. But it's always coming to them. And they're not running after it. See the big difference there? When you run after something, pain, suffering, frustration, all that, suffering, do we really want to suffer? Or do we desire, through our heart minds, to move on to higher existence, higher frequency, new things to experience, to discover, to explore? Don't you ever feel that way in your heart mind? When you're with yourself, don't you ever say to yourself, I wonder what's more out there, right? And then you turn around and say, I wonder how much I have to discover about the God that I am in this body. We are vast divine perfection, the gods that we are in these bodies. Everything that changes is not real. Okay? And I know that's real confusing for a lot of people. The only thing that never, ever, ever changes is the God that you are in that body. So we have all of these unreal, the things that are changing are unreal. None of it's real. And that's kind of a dilemma for many, to choose to go to, and within, the journey within, to discover that it is all an illusion. This universe is an illusion. It is an energetic form of frequencies through consciousness holding it together so that we may learn about who and what we are. That's what it is. Is that a big deal? No, it's not a big deal. It's here, and we're experiencing it, and we are transcending it. Some, this lifetime, others could take numerous lifetimes to come to that realization. And since our journey is infinity, that we are immortal and we never die, what's the big deal? Really? What's the big deal? We talk about this life, and we say, I hear a lot of people say that they want to be happy in life, right? I hear a lot of people say that they're looking to find their love, right? That they want to give love. And they are love. And we're always giving love, but most of the time we don't know it. You can't not give love when you are love. Yeah, there's people get real angry. There are pure evil energies on this planet. There's a mix match of a lot of things that represent certain emotions and feelings. Pure evil is dishonesty. Pure good is honesty. It's real simple. And, you trust people, right? But you're not sure, okay? Because you're guarded, and you say, okay, I'm going to trust this person. And you trust them. And lo and behold, and in most cases, something comes up where you have discovered that they breached that trust. And the reason they breach it is because they are controlled by the ego mind. When someone does not respect themselves, they will not respect others. That's a big dilemma on this planet. Because a lot of people feel they're inferior, right? That they're insignificant, not powerful. That they're frightened and scared little animals. And they literally focus on what they're not. And they create that illusion for themselves to believe that they are that. Nobody does anything to you. We do it all to ourselves. So someone would say, well then, okay, how do you explain someone just walking up to you out of the clear blue and popping you in the face? You happen to be in that area, right? Had you not decided to be in that area, they wouldn't have popped you in the face. Like, okay, so you're walking down a road in your town or city. That's nighttime. How many people do that anymore? Well, let's just say you're in a town that you can get away with that. And you're walking down and there's dark alleys. And you become apprehensive. Right? Now here's something interesting. When you know you're safe, well, and protected, the God that you are within that body, you will not focus on anything materializing to cause you harm. You won't. Others will, because they're focused on it. The boogeyman coming out of the corner. Or, people that get around a lot of homeless people feel very uncomfortable and want to just blank it out. Oh, come on, Herbert, let's get out of there. Those are dirty people. I know, I was in that situation one time. And they're not dirty people. People be surprised, and this is part of the physical touch, time spent together, actions from the heart, loving words, physical gifts. Now, see, some people, they're fearful, but they won't interact or engage, say, with homeless people. Loving words, actions from the heart. Because, what's your name, by the way? Say you're giving them some money. But see, the ego mind kicks in, right? Ooh, I'll just give them some money and head on off. Or I'll give them a sandwich or a piece of fruit and a sandwich, and I'll head on off. I'm not gonna. I don't really care, what their plight is or what their life or anything is, right? And here's something that I think a lot of us don't really draw on. Whenever you see someone in trouble, right? Homeless, whatever. And do you what is the feeling that your heart has when you see them? What is the feeling that you feel? And be totally honest with yourself. And why are you seeing them? Right? You travel the same road, same route most people do and have it. And then all of a sudden, there's someone shows up on a street corner that's homeless. They've never been there before. Why did they show up there? Well, aren't we teachers for each other? Don't we learn from each other? Always. And without judging, we say, well, you don't mind me asking, how did you get into this? How did you become homeless? And there's another thing, that when a homeless is manifested in front of you, it's because the God is reminding you to be very, very, very grateful through the heart-mind for what you have. Right? It's kind of like a little nudge saying, how grateful are you for you? Isn't it amazing that the majority of us don't know this? And what do you believe is going to happen, okay, when all of this abundance is released to humanity? Well, over the next decade, it's going to change everything, and pretty much for the better. Don't you feel a wonderful vibrational frequency in this very moment? Not anticipation, not expectation, not attachment, but it is a real, deep, loving energy. Don't you feel that? You really don't need anything to agitate you to feel it. It's always there. You've heard the phrase, we've all heard this through our lives, the state phrase, whatever. What would God do? Right? They've had clothes and hats and pens and stuff like that. Yeah, you ask the God that you are within that body. Hey, God, what would you do in this situation? That's what we're actually doing. We're counseling with the gods that we are. And not like but it's heart, not head. And lo and behold, something will come in, and you'll take the step in whatever direction that you feel guided to take the step by the God that you are in that body. And it may not always be a bowl full of cherries. It may be pretty bumpy. And you say, why the heck did I make that decision? And then you say, what am I learning from it? And then I've had questions like this. Here's a good one for everybody. What's the purpose of it all? What's the purpose of us being gods in these physical forms? So what? You experience, you do this, you do that. What's the purpose of it all? Why do we do it? That's a question, right? We do it because we are creation. That's it. Pure, love, light, energy, photon, cosmic, however you want to describe it. We are creation. We create. And there's nothing you can do about it. Period. We create. We are supreme creators. When you focus in the sky, you're looking at the sky, right? And you see stars, and there's not a lot of light that fades the sky out, right? So you see the stars, and you're looking at the stars, and you're focusing on the sky. You say, isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Oh, it's a shooting star. Your focus, and the focus is manifesting. Like you'll say to yourself, wonder what it would be like to be out there. Right? And the funny thing is that we have all been out there. Not in these bodies, but in other forms. We have been out there because that is part of the gods that we are. And we are part of the gods that that is. Wherever there is anything, there is God. Remember that. Wherever there is anything, there is God. And God, there's a label. There's the label, right? So pure consciousness, pure photonic love light energy in a form that takes a form. Reverend, imperial, stupendous, magnificent, through the heart mind. And when it all boils down to it, we're all seeking the gods that we are in these bodies. But that's where all the answers are. And the biggest discovery for this civilization or any civilization is that we are one. That we're not separate. But we do know that these physical forms, we call them bodies, right? We created these bodies as the gods that we are to experience. What's so complicated about that? We created these bodies so that we can experience physical form. Is physical form real? No. But it allows us, it gives us the opportunity as gods to experience it. You see what I mean? And there aren't a lot of species in existence that are configured, that have physical forms configured exactly like these physical forms. It literally is, say, when you walk to a cliff and you look down and you see, wow, that's a long way down there. And this is really strange for a lot of people. But the God within you says, hey, it's okay to step off that cliff. Right? Now we go into figuratively. And you walk off the cliff, but yet you don't fall. Okay? You don't fall. And you're not frightened, you're not scared. It's just like walking down the road. And you walk across the void to the other side. That's how powerful we are as gods. You intend, you create an invisible surface, and you walk on that surface. Or, right? Or you learn to fly. Now, interestingly enough, in my travels so far in this life, I've witnessed people who, now, understand, this wasn't a suicide or anything, but they said, look, so I watched, and they jumped off a cliff, and they flew. Now, we always look at the fact that, in order to fly, you have to have wings, right? And it's just part of the social structure of the planet, society. Because you have a bird and you have a plane, and, that's just how we've been made to believe. But in reality, through intent, through those who are really, 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 truly connected to the God source that they are within that body, it's a piece of cake. You eliminate the gravitational force on the body through your focus of the heart-mind, and you eliminate anything holding you to the surface of the planet. Through the heart-mind, that's telling the ego mind what to do. How can that be? We're not that powerful. We're not powerful at all. That's all made up. There are so many things on this planet alone that literally the ego mind would not ever be able to understand. There are things on this planet, in it, above it, and below it, that we've created unconsciously that would literally blow us away. There are so many things just on this planet that we haven't even discovered yet. This planet has only been discovered 3%. Seriously. And yet, the ego mind continually tries to destroy that which it doesn't know through its own insecurities. So in this quiet time, in this meditation, focus on these things. It's good to know that every one of us, every human being, receives the gift of love in these 5 special and unique ways. Every human being. Physical touch, time spent together, actions from the heart, loving words, physical gifts. I join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take a slow, easy breath in through the nose and a slow and easy breath out from the mouth. Remain still. When one person lives every day from what their true infinite potential is, an amazing shift will happen for everyone. A contagious reaction of a new consciousness will occur, and our whole planet will wake up. Everyone will experience themselves as this infinite source. Believe it or not, the one person to start this chain reaction is you. If you're ever feeling stuck in this life, wanting to find the way, remember this. The mere intention of being still and silent has enough power in it to generate a complete awakening in your lives, regardless of how deeply stuck you feel or think you are. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, and the following morning. And we will return here Monday, January 9th, 2023, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be good to yourselves.